Is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's webinar. You have myself here, Odwama Gwenchu, and
Mr. Peter Harrington.
yes, and we'll be going through how to use an EA, Expert Advisor. We're going to give the rest of the attendees 5 minutes to join. Please tell me if you can hear me or see my screen. Yes, Mr. Sneyman, I see you've raised your hand. I'm going to unmute you, then we can hear your question. Yes, Mr. Sneyman?
I don't have a microphone. Can you hear?
Yes, we can, sir.
So you can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. I was just trying to connect with you guys.
No problem, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. As I said previously, we're going to start in 5 minutes' time. What we're going to do now is just wait for everyone else to join. Then we're going to get started. If you have any questions, you can't see the screen, you can't hear me, let us know now so we can start promptly when the webinar starts. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's 6:05 right now, and we're going to start with our webinar. Couple of house rules before we get started. We're going to go through a couple of topics as we're going along. The topics are what are expert advisors? Second topic is where do I get them? How do I use them? Is the third topic, and what to do while using them, or basically the nitty gritties, meaning does it work when it's offline, etc., etc. And the final one is creating your own. We're not going to go into much detail on each of these topics as we only have an hour. However, we are going to dab a bit. As we're going along, I would appreciate it if you ask the questions in the questions tab, and then we'll answer it at the end of each topic. Uh, just before we carry on, last round, can you just tell me if you're not hearing me or seeing the screen? Just notify us now so we can fix that. If everything's a go, we'll go ahead. We already received some green light that you can see everything, but just for one more minute, see if everyone is on board. Okay, we can get started. Okay, so today is a very special webinar for all those who have joined me from our previous webinars. We have the very experienced, very well-known, if you watch CNBC, senior trader here at GT247, Piru Harrington, joining us today. He is our head of expert advisory, quote unquote, at the desk. He knows the EA space more than anyone at the desk at the moment. I am giving him a run for his money, but I'll let him take the lead today. Welcome, Pierre.
Thank you very much, Odwa. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I really hope that we could go ahead and shine some light on what is, for a lot of people, quite a daunting proposition. But hopefully, after this time we spent with us tonight, we would be able to set some of these things at ease and give you the confidence to go ahead and implement a couple of these.
Okay. Yes, so Perry, the first question for today is what are expert advisors? Why would someone actually investigate or look into an expert advisor?
Yeah, Odward, expert advisor, pretty much short and sweet, is a program that triggers trades or orders on specific signals. So these signals could differ from technical indicators to price action to momentum to moving averages. Pretty much the realms of what would trigger a event in the expert advisor are unlimited. It's pretty much what you can think of. You could trigger them off economic news. You could have pretty much anything you can think of. So to answer a question, short and sweet, an expert advisor is a program that opens and closes trades automatically for a client or a trader with set on specific rules.
Okay, and the rules are, as you stated now, is that it's based on the technical indicators. Does something like the value of the company come into play, or?
So at the moment, majority of the expert advisors we've come across and that are available internationally and on the MQL and MT5 platform are based and more traded around currencies.
Okay.
So currencies and indices and commodities are the majority of what these price action ones trigger off. So obviously, if you're looking at building your own expert advisor that you want to have more depth in, it can be done. So you can pull in external information. Obviously, in today's webinar, we won't go into that much detail regarding that, but the possibilities are almost endless.
Sounds amazing to me, I won't lie. That's great. And so, okay, we got that. And I've also heard about signals and copycat. What's the difference between an expert advisor and copycat?
Although that's a brilliant question. The one thing where we shouldn't confuse is the copycat signal functionality that MT5 provides for our traders and an expert advisor. Now, an expert advisor is a program or a set of codes that is written and you implement it on your specific account. So it doesn't happen to anybody around you. It doesn't have any any needs any other trader anywhere else to trigger a signal. That expert advisor will only trigger on your account. So you can control it completely. You can take it or put it on or take it off when you want. It shouldn't be confused with a signal where somebody else places trades and you copy that one.
Oh,
so expert advisor is you controlled by the trader for only that trader's account.
Okay, that's excellent. And I've also read somewhere that you can set one to trigger for a specific instrument, for example, for gold alone, and then you can trade everything else independently and just have that expert advisor working for one or two signals. Is that correct?
100%. The wonderful thing is you're not limited to a set number of instrument traded. You could trade almost unlimited signals or instruments at the same time. You can only place one expert advisor per chart.
Okay.
But you can open, as most of our traders have seen, you can open almost unlimited charts and you can place one expert advisor per one of those charts.
That's excellent. Now, I want us to move to the next topic, which is where do I get them? and we're going to go into that in depth. Well, not too much depth, but just touch a bit on it. But there's a question here from Neil. He's asking, can it tell me to do a trade manually? So does it tell you this is a trade that's available right now instead of placing the trade for you? Is that possible?
Yes, it is. So the wonderful thing with Expert Advisor is that it monitors and analyzes the price action on the chart, but you control what it does when those things happen. So it's very configurable. Obviously, you have to understand what that Expert Advisor does, and we'll go into a little bit more detail in later. But every Expert Advisor can be set up and customized to exactly what you want it to do. Obviously, it could take a little bit more effort, and it could take sometimes you paying somebody else to modify it. But that thing, any Expert Advisor can be programmed, like any program out there, can be changed and customized to what that trader specifically wants it to do. Obviously, you can't say program it to make money and it'll do it, but it will do the rules you put into it. So if like Neil asked, if you wanted to notify you when a event happens, let's say if a 10 moving average crosses above a 20 moving average, it'll pop out and show you either a notification to your phone or to your terminal and say, Neil, you wanted to buy gold when it crosses above the two moving averages cross above it. It happened in the last candle. Go onto your platform and either buy or sell it.
Oh, that's excellent. We have another question here. At the moment, Tato is asking, is it available on the mobile platform? Just before you answer, Piri, I would like everyone to ask the questions on the first part now, because we're going to go to the next topic. So on Tato's question, is it available on the mobile platform, Piri?
So, Tato, to answer that plain and simply, unfortunately not. These things run on the desktop application. So you can set it up and then monitor and adjust it from your app. But unfortunately, you have to have the desktop application downloaded. And unfortunately, not even the web application has this functionality. The desktop application is the only one you can implement and access Expert Advisors on the MT5 platform.
Okay. Ben Biggs, you're running ahead just slightly at the moment. We do have an Expert Advisor we are going to demonstrate as we go along. But thanks for the question. The question was, do we have any Expert Advisors that monitor accounts that we're going to demonstrate? So we are going to go through that. That's more towards the end of the webinar that we're hosting. Second question is then, where do we find these Expert Advisors, Piri?
Okay, so the wonderful thing with MT5 is that you can access it from two different places. So you have the functionality on your platform, like the standard platform that we see. Yeah, if you don't on your platform see this type of layout, all you have to make sure is that you could view the toolbox. So under view, if you don't see this bottom section, I hope you see that because that's where your trades would show. But if you can't see it, you just go under view and click on toolbox. Under the toolbox section, there is a markets tab. Now under the markets tab, it gives you access to what we call the MQL5 marketplace. Now this would, if you click on that, this would pop up this window. As you can see, there are different tabs, namely main, experts, indicators, libraries, utilities, favorites, and downloads. You also have on the right-hand side a place to register MQL5 accounts. If you haven't done that, I would advise you to do that because that's where you would get access to their forums and also access to buy the Expert Advisors or indicators if you choose to do so.
So sorry, Piri, before you go ahead, with regards to MQL5, is that part of GT or is it an external source?
That is 100% an external source. So we unfortunately don't have any say on what goes on or off or what is rated highly or what's not. It's a completely different entity and controlled by the MQL5.com /MT5 administrators. So we don't have a say. It is a completely separate entity. They are the administrators of the MT5 platform.
Okay.
That is where all the information sits when it comes to coding, when it comes to markets, where to buy expert advisors. That is on the MQL5.com marketplace. Just to on that topic, this is pretty much a highlights package of what MQL5 has out there. This is actually what's the word I'm looking for? This is actually almost narrated by them themselves. So these top experts, they have certain criteria when they pop up here. We can't control any of that, unfortunately. So we can't say, listen, our top GT expert advisors will be in this line. Unfortunately, this is all administrated by MQL5.
Okay.
So the like I said earlier, this is where you would be the first point of call when you're looking for expert advisors, either to buy or to download. The wonderful thing with that is you can, in this right-hand side, if you're not as keen on spending money off the bat before you're comfortable, you can look for the free expert advisors that you can download for free. You can implement them. We'll get into that, but that is one of the sections you can go to find out more information on them. The other and more advanced one is if you actually go onto your browser and log into or access their actual website, which is mql5.com. Now, this is probably from any guy that is really interested and really passionate about expert advisors and specifically automating trading. This website is something that you would almost access either daily or at least once a week. Like you can see, there's a lot of information. You can sign up, become one of the community members, where you can get to chat to people across the globe. MT5 and MQL5 is the biggest traded database in the world. So you got access to a lot of knowledge when it comes to this. On this page, it exactly like we had on the terminal, it has a marketplace. Now, obviously, we're trading on the MT5 platform, so you would almost drill down on the different expert advisors to only include MT5. But here you've got access, and you guys can see there are pages. There are over 70 pages of different expert advisors out there. The wonderful thing is that you can sort them by a ranking, you can sort them by a rating, you can drill down into indicators, different expert advisors. Obviously, that's what we're focusing on at the moment, but they are almost endless. And obviously, if you can't find it, you could always, in this community, ask somebody to program it for you.
Oh, that's nice. And like as you said, just because you're a member of the community, you can ask someone and then just have that conversation with that person.
Exactly.
And if he has the time and is generous enough, he can do that for you.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of freelance programmers that are part of this community. So maybe at a small fee, they could quickly program majority of these expert advisors, because a lot of these guys have been around since the launch of MT4, so they know quite a bit.
Okay. Another question that usually comes up is that if you have an MT4 expert advisor, can you take that and use it on MT5?
Unfortunately, Odwa, it's one of the things that frustrates a lot of people that have been used to MT4 is that it's not compatible. It is not compatible with MT5. So there are guys out there that do conversions. So they take your code or your expert advisor that you bought on MT4 and convert it for you into MT5 language. But unfortunately, out of the box, it's not compatible. Okay. So it is something that everybody has to get used to. But one thing that we must understand is that MT4 will become null and void. They are looking to discontinue any support on that. So all of these guys that are on MT4 currently will start migrating, and more emphasis will be given on MT5. So that's why GT as a business decided to go for the new technology that all the effort's going to be put into, instead of sticking with the MT4 and then eventually migrating all our clients across. So if I understand completely, and I've spoken to a couple of guys that are frustrated regarding that, but there are guys out there that can help. So
Okay.
join this community, sign up. It's at no cost. You can speak to a lot of these oaks, say, listen, what can I do? Can I convert this? And more than likely, they'll point you in the right direction.
Oh, excellent. Just one more question with regards to this payment format. The money, does it have to be, do you pay via credit card? Does it have to be in your account? How does it go about it? What do you do there?
Yeah, and that's a great question, Otto. And the one thing that one again must understand is, unfortunately, this is a completely separate entity to us. So all of these guys are not affiliated to gt247.com in any way. So they are a marketplace and a database on their own. So all these payment systems, unfortunately, it can't be linked to your trading account. So it would have to be a separate one. But they've got a very nice functionality where you could link different PayPals or credit cards, or it's all secure, it's all legit, and it goes through the MQL5. So you don't actually have to pay the developer themselves. It goes through exactly like where you buy something from Takealot. It actually happens in exactly the same way.
Oh, that's excellent. Excellent. Let me just, I see there's a few questions I want to ask from the clients. Does anyone have questions specifically? We're going to start the questions round now. Mr. Sneeman, Ves Sneeman is asking, how about connecting an AI to an expert advisor? An AI is an artificial intelligence. You want to answer that, or maybe I can have a go at it?
Well, you're the engineer.
In essence, they're exactly the same thing. An AI and an expert advisor is an AI is a program that you write, and then it self-corrects itself. And similarly, with an expert advisor, it's a program that you also write. Now, if you, depending on your ability as a coder, you can then put the coding in there where it self-corrects itself. So, for example, if it loses 3 trades in a row, you can say, do not take this particular form of, or do not take this code into play this time around, or etc., etc. So, to answer your question there, Mr. Sneeman, is that it's the same thing.
Yeah, I just want to elaborate on that. Mr. Simon, obviously, if you have access to a technology that has the capability of artificial learning or artificial intelligence, then you can connect that to your expert advisor. But I've not come across anybody that has that type of functionality, readily available at least at the moment.
Okay, no, great. And then we have Mr. Ben Biggs asking again now, does GT have a proven EA or expert advisor for our clients? Period.
Yeah, Ben, that is, just to answer that in a roundabout way, you have to understand one thing, that we are the platform provider. We have done research, and obviously a lot of the guys on the trading desk have been playing around with this, but unfortunately markets change. So there are EAs out there that work very well. There are EAs, like you've seen, that go for a lot of money, that a lot of guys buy and trade with, but a proven EA to work in the future forever, we can't we won't be able to give you or promise anything like that. We will be later. I will be showing you one of the free ones that I actually have come across that has been making money on one of the currency pairs that I've tested it on. Obviously, it's no indication that it will work in the future, and you still obviously have to decide and monitor that. That's one of the subjects we'll cross later when you have it active, what you have to do. But we will be almost demonstrating one on the strategy tester a little bit down the line and show you one of those.
Excellent. 2 last questions is, please show us how to test the expert advisor. Rian, you are running a bit ahead of us at the moment. And the last one is from Neil. How do I register an account with MQL5. As we said, you just go to MQL. I mean, Piri just showed you right now. You go to MQL5.com, and then you go where it says sign up. That's where you would go about, and then they'll ask for particular information, and then you'll give it to them, and it's as easy as that. If I'm not mistaken, I believe so. Yeah.
100%. And the wonderful thing, it's all free of charge. There's no obligation. There's no restriction from your side. So you can just go up. It's like Facebook. It's actually very social. The guys have a little bit of a banter, and they help you out quite a bit if you're open to that type of thing. So I would definitely advise anybody that's serious about this to go ahead and register an account with them.
Okay, excellent. So now we got 3 more topics to go through. As I said, if you have any questions, ask them now. The next topic we're going towards is how do I use them? Piri is going to give us a quick demonstration there on how it works.
Okay, so just to just get all of this right. So we would go back to our platform. You would obviously need an account to trade on, either your demo or your live account. But necessarily it doesn't have to trigger on a specific account. Like I'll show you now, there is a functionality that you can actually test and back test as many as you want. I can tell you from personal experience, I've spent more hours than I probably should having a look at this program, tick through all the different data and implement different strategies. So if you are like me, just watch out. Your wife might get angry because you might be addicted to this thing for quite a while. But so the question is, how do I use it? So it's very, very straightforward. So you would go to the marketplace, like we say, where you find it. You would then look for the specific expert advisor that you are interested in. Now, the options sometimes are a bit daunting because that's one thing that I have against it, is that you have to sift through a lot of stuff before you get something that actually works. So, and unfortunately, like me and Otto both said earlier, is that if something works now, it doesn't mean it'll work tomorrow or it'll work next month. So unfortunately, it does take a little bit of groundwork. But if you're serious about this and you are serious about making money in trading and implementing an expert advisor, then you would spend that time. You would take the effort and go a little bit deeper and spend some time till midnight nights looking through all these different ones. But moving on from that, we have a list of all the free ones out there. So we can then just go any of these. I've decided that I really like this free grid harvester. I've read through and if you just click on it, it will give you a description of all the functionality that is built into it.
Okay.
You could then view all different screenshot of what it does, how it's performed. Obviously, one thing you guys have to be very aware of is that some of these back tests, especially when you have a look at this chart, that looks like you could sell your house and put your money and sell your girlfriend and your wife and put everything in there because you'll be able to retire tomorrow. But you have to be very aware that the concern with this is that a lot of guys could optimize these back-tested results. So this is actually a graph that is output by the strategy test, and we will show you that later. So you just have to be aware especially when you buy it, and especially when you implement them on the live account, that you have to be exactly sure of what this thing is going to do and when it's going to do it. So there are so many out there, and the possibilities are endless, but you have to be the one that does the homework, does the groundwork, find out exactly, read through all of these things, test it, retest it, run it forward, run it on your demo account. All of these things you have to do before you put real money into it. But getting back to this one, how we use it, I did all my research and I found this grid harvester. All I have to do, even without a MQL5 account, I just click on download, and it downloads this one with the status bar coming up directly onto my MT5 platform. If I just take that down a little bit. Okay, you can see right here under Expert Advisors on your navigator. If you don't see your navigator, all you have to do is just go click View and go scroll down, and the navigator will be there. Under the navigator, under Expert Advisors, it will normally be compressed like this. You just click on that, left click on that plus sign. This one will also be like that. You click under Market, and there it is. There is your Grid Harvester MT5 free Expert Advisor you just got from the MQL5.com marketplace straight onto your platform and ready for you to use. So getting into the nitty-gritty of how to use it, you've now downloaded it, you're very happy, you know what is going on. All you have to do to implement this is drag it across onto the specific instrument that you want. So you see the instrument name, you're happy with that. You see the time frame you want to implement on, you're happy with that. You're happy with all of these things. You've looked at the inputs, you've adjusted it like you wanted it. Then all you have to do is click OK.
Okay. Sorry, Piri, just sorry to cut you off there. I heard you say something about time frame. So you're telling me that it works per time frame. So if you have an hour time frame, that's where the Expert Advisor will be working. It won't work on a 30-minute, or the rules will be working on that particular time frame.
100%. The one thing all traders have to be aware of is exactly that. You have to understand how it is programmed. Majority of them are programmed that it works on that specific chart you're placing it on.
Okay.
So some can be programmed that it looks at the daily chart but trades on the half an hour. You can see that in the specifications. So,
okay.
But majority of them will trade on the chart that you are trading on.
Okay.
Or you place it on. So we place it here on the US dollar yen 15-minute chart. It'll only look at this and execute on this chart. Trades off these patterns. Obviously, this grid harvester that has its specific rules. I'm not exactly sure what it does, but you guys can read up. And I think it uses a grid to buy and sell. How it determines that grid, I don't know. Obviously, we can't promote or advise you guys on which ones to use, but I'll show you now how this one does in past, and just to show you that these things they are able to make money if you get the right one. So getting back to that, I've added the chart, the Expert Advisor to the chart. You'll see it enter here on the right hand side. It says Grid Harvester MT5 free, and there's a little man with a red block next to it. That actually shows that it's disabled.
Okay.
So this red man shows that it's not active. It's not going to trade. It's not going to execute anything. So you would then have to go and click this Enable Automated Trading by clicking on this button.
Okay.
So if you click that, you'll see that this one will also go green. Just have to see, because I think it's red because I don't have any cash in my account. So, but this little man will go green. I will actually just ask Odwa for his demo account just now, but we will. This free one is. There are restrictions on that. So.
Actually, Piri, so sorry to cut you off. I think there's something we overlooked there. When we added the Expert Advisor, we didn't allow automated trading.
Of course.
I think that's where we went wrong.
So all we have to do, if that didn't work, we just remove it. We add it back again. Yeah, Odwa was right there. And we can also allow modification of the signals while it is in play. So then we just click OK, exactly like Odwa said. Obviously, we have to read up further, but it is active now. We can see there's a green man that is also showing active. So this one is actually, if we had money in this account, this Expert Advisor will buy and sell for us.
Okay.
So just want to remove it there. The one thing I want to just reinforce and show you probably the greatest tool that is available, that MT5 makes available to GT247.com clients, is the ability to backtest these expert advisors.
Okay.
So all you have to do, you just go here on the toolbox. In the bottom right, there's what's called a strategy tester. So if you click there, this is what MT5 uses to back test pretty much anything you can find. So it'll implement over the time frame we specify here expert advisor of our choice. So what I can show you now, and I'll just to show any critics or any skeptics out of there that this thing is possible to make money. If I just take this free, the one I just got off the MQL5 database, and I add that, let me just quickly add a symbol here. So I want to trade that one on the Euro GBP. Okay. I then just go under CFDs, international products, currencies, and I select the Euro GBP. So just run you through that. I did that rather quickly, but you could drag any expert advisor from the navigator onto the strategy tester, or you can select it from this drop-down menu. You can then select the symbol you want to test it on, and then you select the time frame.
Okay.
So I'm specifically going to look at the grid harvester over the Euro GBP on the half an hour time frame.
Okay.
So, and I'm going to backtest that to see what the result was from the beginning of the year. So all I have to do, I've got everything there with 10,000 Rand. I put on the visualization because I want to see how it buys and sells. I went in, I just have to make sure that I've got these things set up correctly. Let me not change anything there. So let me just go and show you guys what will happen. So I then click start. It'll pop up another window, which is the strategy tester visualizer.
Okay.
And it will start executing trades for us. So exactly what I thought. I did not change the volume. It is below our minimum volume. You can see all of this feedback it gives you here.
Okay.
You can then go back to your platform. You can go into the inputs where you can change everything. And this is one thing the guys have to be very aware of. You could change and determine what this thing does and what it should do and what volume it should execute at, everything from these inputs.
Okay.
So I saw that the lots were too small, or the trade volume was too small. So I just want to change that a little bit higher.
Okay.
So
Everyone who has questions at the moment, please ask them. We're going to go through them just before we run it again. Okay, and I see that he changed the lot size to 1.
Okay.
Okay.
So that lot size is the same as our Rand per point value. Some guys in currencies speak to lot, but we obviously trade in Rand per point. So I just changed that to 1 Rand per point, the minimum it should execute on. So if I then run it again, I see that this thing is executing for us. So you can actually see the trades it bought there. You see the trade happening here at the bottom. It bought 1. If you then just make it a little bit quicker, because we don't have all night to sit here and see how it goes.
Wow.
So there it goes. It's trading for you. Obviously, the different settings you could change. This thing is trading away. You can see the total running. It's manic. And it's firing away. You could then have a look on your platform itself. There is a graph of how it trades. So this is actually the back-tested results over the last year for this expert advisor. And obviously you see it's struggling a little bit there. But I will just quickly show you, if I just change one setting, that's unfortunately how sensitive these things are, because the markets are very sensitive to when you buy and sell. If you just change, I went around and played around with this thing, and I changed, just have to check here what I changed. I changed this automated module. I changed that to oscillator around moving average. So if I just change that and I run it again, You have a look on the daily, it's buying and selling here. If you actually then go back to your platform and you look at the graph, you can see that this thing does very well.
Oh, okay.
If you actually have a look on this visualizer, this balance is increasing very nicely. So this is just trading with 1 Rand per point increments. I see it's up to 4 or 5 Rand a point. And it does extremely well trading this currency pair on this time frame. So just to show you that there are free instruments available on the MQL platform that you don't have to pay an arm and a leg for, and you're able to implement it onto yours with very little effort and very little ease, and it can actually make you money. So just to run through that again, if you want to implement an expert advisor on your live account or your demo account, all you have to do is take it from your navigator, click it, drag it across, and drop it. You change the inputs to what you want. Obviously, after you ran a couple of times on the back tester and the strategy tester, and you know exactly what it's doing, and as easy as that. So this one will now go ahead and trade for you. Obviously all of these, I'm not an expert on this grower to harvester, it's just one that I picked up for our demonstration today. You can then go and play around and figure out exactly what it does and what it's supposed to do and what the right settings are. So if you then want to remove it, all you have to do, you click on this little man on the right hand side. You can then change the properties if you want to change the inputs, or you can then just say remove it. A lot of these expert advisors are written that it'll then remove all the orders it placed on your account, and it's like you never had it before.
Okay, I see we have a couple of questions. Let's just answer those quickly, and then we're going to go to our next topic. Okay. Sorry, I'm just going back on the questions. First question is, what about visual servers? Any suggestions? To be honest, I'm not aware of what a visual server is.
Sorry, it says virtual server.
Virtual, sorry, okay.
Sorry, Brian. Like we will be covering that a little bit later on while using it. But like I said, I will be answering that question for you.
Okay. Another one we have from Mr. Sneeman again is, are we going to put this on YouTube? Yes, Mr. Sneeman, we always put these out after we're done with them. But most importantly, as someone who actually spent the time with us, I'll send it to you directly after a day or two, just to process and fix everything. But you will have it personally. Another question we have is,
Are there tutorials available for each advisor?
Are there any tutorials available for each advisor? There's a lot, I believe, on YouTube in terms of advisor, how to use a expert advisor and everything. This is just our attempt at doing that.
Sorry, Tatu, just to answer a different way, I believe that you're asking that are there for every advisor a tutorial? Unfortunately, it's up to the developer that puts it out. If you go to the MQL5 website, you could see that in every single one, okay, there is this description that they write. So they write and they also explain to you what every input means. So what depth they go into, unfortunately, it differs. There are even some guys that actually have videos on their specific expert advisor they put out. Underneath, you could actually click through, and I know there are some that have videos on these different images. So to answer that question, unfortunately, it's some do and some don't. So for the ones that don't, you would have to either contact the developer and ask the question yourself, or for him to help you. But there are other guys that are more helpful, and obviously, if you pay money. Like some of these, the most expensive one I found was $7,500. So
Jeez.
if you start paying that type of money, I hope the guy comes to your house and actually implements it for you yourself. But they don't. So it differs from developer to developer.
Okay. Another one we have here is are we allowed to test this on the demo? I think you did say something about this. Touch on it. You said that we can. Am I correct?
Yes. So you could. The wonderful thing is that we have opened it up to demo accounts, so you can be running these as we speak on your demo account. It'll be triggered exactly the same as a live account. Obviously, I don't know about funding charges. I don't exactly know if we do charge them on demo accounts, but from a triggering buying and selling perspective, they'll execute exactly the same way. So yes, you can. You could just like I did it now. You just make sure you're on your demo account, drag it from your navigator onto the chart, and it'll fire away.
Excellent stuff. Another one from Neil. Is it possible to have the? I mean, I think we did touch on this a bit. To have it run in the background, but have a notification when the criteria has been met, so that you can decide whether you want to go in the trade or not.
Yes, it does. So you could have the expert advisor running, and you could then, with a little bit of adjustment, make it do whatever you want it to. So it can send you an alert. It can make you pop up on the screen and say buy, 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 buy. You better be buying, otherwise you're going to miss out. You can do pretty much, the opportunities are endless. So unfortunately, customizing EAs does take a little bit of either programming knowledge or money spent on somebody doing it for you.
Okay. So a few more questions before we go to the next topic. Does it run when your computer is? Does your computer need to be on in order for the trades to trigger? Number one, and number two, the data that it uses. How far does GT's data go back?
Yeah. So first of all, Ron, we will be covering that topic in the next section where we explain while using it what you must do and what you shouldn't do. The answer is straight off the bat, yes, but there are options available. And then Ben, the data unfortunately is a little bit tricky when it comes to the backtesting data, but our data, I can confirm, is solid up to last year October. So that should give you reasonable accuracy. Obviously, we can't guarantee that the data is exact, but with reasonable accuracy, the data should be fine till last year October. Anything before that, unfortunately, it was only on a 1 minute time frame. So I would take that with a pinch of salt on the back test. But as we go forward from now on, every single day and every single data point will be captured for you to backtest.
Okay, the last two questions are just on the availability of the webinar. The webinar, we will give us a day or few. We will post this webinar up, and then the other one is if we're having one next week. It's all about you guys. We are servicing you. Next week is a bit short term. These are usually bi-weekly, meaning once every 2 weeks. That's when we post it. But as we say, it's based on the needs of our clients that we show these webinars. So just not to eat up too much of our time while using it. You said you have a couple of rules that you have to follow when you're using this EA. What are those rules, Pierre?
Okay. Andre, yeah, this is probably the most important. All of these things pre this are pretty much useless and null and void if you don't follow the important guidelines what to do while using an expert advisor or an expert advisor activated on your platform. So first of all, the one thing I have to reinforce and say that over and over again is don't think that you could add an expert advisor to your account, especially your live account. You can do it to your demo account, no problem. But to your live account, just forget about it. Just say, listen, this thing worked like a charm on the back test. I'm gonna be rich. I'm already spending the money I'm gonna make next month. You can't do that. Unfortunately, you have to be monitoring it, not necessarily on a daily or hourly basis, but at least once a week. Just have a look how it's doing, or get it to send you alerts when it triggers the trades.
Okay.
You can't just put it on and forget about it. Unfortunately, that's not how the things work. So if you do take it serious, in obviously most of us do take our trading accounts pretty seriously, you have to be vigilant and monitoring your accounts and how this thing is trading on your behalf, because
Okay.
that's pretty much what it's doing. You giving it access to your account, your funds, to trade on your behalf. So you have to monitor it and be aware of what it's doing. The second thing, while using it, and getting back to, I think it was Tato that asked that question earlier, the your PC has to be on for it to trade. So your platform has to be active and connected to our server. So i.e. you have to have internet connection from your platform to our server for these things to send either orders or trades to us. So that has a two parts. So one, you have to have internet connectivity.
Okay.
Two, your PC has to be on.
Okay.
So it can actually work in lock mode.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be open and the bright screen keeping you awake at night, but it has to have access to the internet and it can't be switched off. So those are the two things you have to remember, that if you turn it off and it doesn't have that internet connectivity, or the PC's turned off and you have an open trade and it needs to exit at a specific level, it won't do it. And unfortunately, that's one of the things that you have to be aware of, and you have to back test it and you have to understand it, because if that thing goes against you and you lose money, unfortunately, you gave that expert advisor, you put that expert advisor on your account. So there's nobody else to blame, unfortunately. You can't blame the programmer. You can't blame the developer. You can only blame yourself. But the wonderful thing is that MT5 gives you a functionality to host your account remotely.
Oh, okay.
So it takes that, especially with some of our service providers, runtime and uptime isn't always guaranteed. So we do experience downsides from the likes of Telcom and ADSL, and there are downtimes. So to protect yourself against that, there is an option for you to host your trading account, and specifically your expert advisor, on a virtual server.
Okay.
So if you go to any of your accounts that you have the expert advisor linked on, if you right click on that, you can go to the bottom. So let me just quickly have a look here. Okay, so I need to have a expert advisor linked to that. So let me just quickly go here and then run that one there. So you'll actually see that the grid harvester is running on this one here. So if I then right click on that account, I can go and register a virtual server. So the cool thing that MQL5 are quite generous is, if you go past this stage, there is a trial period. So you can run a trial. I believe it's unfortunately only for 24 hours, but you can see how it works. So what it will then do is it will, let me just quickly, I can probably see if I could log in. I think I've already spent my 24-hour allowance, but let me just see if I can log in here. Just have a look. Okay, there you go. So you could actually then host the server, and I think the closest one, unfortunately, at the moment is in London, but you can host your account with anything that's associated with that account. So it'll be all signals, it'll be all expert advisor. You can host this one remotely.
Okay.
So it'll have 24-hour access to the internet, and I believe they promise 99.99% uptime. So more than likely it has a minute chance of missing a trade. So you pretty much free of keeping you still have access, you still have all the control, but it's hosted remotely. So then you could go ahead. I don't know if I've got, looks like I've got some,
a few minutes there.
left there. So I could then go I agree to the terms and conditions. I follow these. There, I select what I want to migrate. If I want to migrate only the expert advisor, if I want to migrate the signals associated with this account, obviously signals will do a webinar on that later this year. But you could then select what you want to migrate and then host this one. So if you then successfully hosted this account, which will mean it'll take every single chart you have open here and migrate it. It doesn't have to be one instrument. It can be as many as you want. It's one account.
Okay.
So the cheapest it starts on, or the most expensive it starts on is $10 a month.
Okay.
Which is roughly about 125 Rand a month. And it does go lower the longer you host it for. So you can then see that this specific account is hosted remotely or on a virtual host, and you could then synchronize all your expert advisors. If you change anything here, you could then synchronize it to your virtual host account. So it will actually disable it on your platform, but it will be running in the back end. You will control it from here, but it won't be running off your platform, which takes that responsibility off you of having it open and connected to the internet, so you can sleep at night. You know this thing, if it needs to trade, it's gonna trade.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. And so, I mean, it's also good for those people who are on the go and you're traveling and so on and so forth. That will then assist them having these signals up and running as well.
Exactly. And the wonderful thing is that you don't. It's not like a virtual server that it's pie in the sky and you can't see. You don't know what's happening in your account. You still see all the orders. You still see all the trades on your platform, but it's hosted remotely. So if you make changes to anything, just make sure that you synchronize it. So you synchronize to your virtual hosting, but you still have your account balance still live. Everything, all the orders, all the trades that have triggered, you can still see that in your history. But it takes away all that concern about not being able to have connectivity to our server.
Yeah, power cuts, especially now again.
Yeah, exactly. Going into winter, we don't know if we're going to see some rolling blackouts or load shedding. But yeah, so that is one of the things that you have to be aware. Your terminal has to be connected. And listen, it doesn't matter. You don't have to run a virtual server.
Okay.
You don't have to. It's your choice. You can sit at home and say, listen, I've got a PC that I'm going to keep running 24/7. I have fiber line that I spend how much on every month, and I want to run it from myself. You don't have to host it.
Okay.
You run, unfortunately, the risk of when it
doesn't
work. You're not covered. Where if you're hosted virtually, it's integrated into the platform. There's very little concern you have. But you can run it at home. You can set up your own little server and host it there and run it there. And there's nothing stopping you from that perspective.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. I see that we also then, is there anything else maybe you might need to know on when it's running and using it? Is there any other pointers you have?
Well, pretty much the most important things are that you have to be aware of what it's doing and that it has connectivity to it. So those are the two most important things that you do while using it. So you have to keep your finger on the pulse. You can't just forget about it, and you have to make sure that you have connectivity.
No, that's excellent. I think we can go to the last topic now, which is creating your own expert advisor. But before we go, we're just going to answer a few questions, and then we're going to go to the next or the final topic, rather. Okay, there's a question is, what is the minimum deposit to activate your live account? It's 500 Rands with us here at GT247 to answer that question, Adiano. And then the last one, the latency.
Okay, so Ben's asking, what's the latency to the GT server? Where are the GT servers? So the GT servers are actually in Johannesburg. It's remotely hosted. So unfortunately, the close one, and we will be actually having discussions with MT5 of potentially setting one up closer. But the current closest one is the one in London. So there is a latency of, I think, 169 milliseconds. So yes, if you're doing high frequency trading, it will probably cause a little bit of latency. But if you're doing what we just backtested there, triggering on majority of the expert advisors, unless you're scalping, it'll be more than adequate.
Okay. And migrate is basically taking, so for example, you can have your MT5 platform on different computers. So if you have your expert advisor on the one at home, but not the one at work, if you're not doing much work, what you can do then with the virtual server, if I'm not mistaken, is that you migrate the information or the edits you did on the home computer to your work computer.
Exactly. So pretty much all migrate means is that it synchronizes it. So whatever you did there, whatever changes you made, it migrates it to the server where you're hosting it, so that everything is running on the same settings.
Okay, just to so we don't take up too much of your time, let's go to the final topic, which is creating your own expert advisor. As we are all very short on time, we're not going to go into too much depth with regards to creating it. It's just the steps to get to the point of creating it is what we're going to go through now.
Yeah. So like Odd was saying, is unfortunately, if you are programming Wiz, listen, we'll probably bore you, yeah. But you have the functionality of building or programming your own on MQL5. So just to answer a question a lot of guys have, the MQL5 language is based on a programming language called C++. So it's an object-based language, and I know a lot of oaks are probably switching off and going to bed now when I start talking about these type of things. But for the guys that are interested in that, it's based on C++, so object-based. It's actually not hard to learn at all. Well, it is a little bit of learning curve. It took me about 3 months to get the hang of it, so that I'm comfortable of writing my own. But it will take a little bit of effort to program specifically. So all that programming is done in what's called the in-house editing software, which is called MetaTrader. So if you have a look here, I believe you can see it off view. If I'm not mistaken, it doesn't appear. So but this symbol here is called MetaQuote's language editor. So if you click on that, it opens up their in-house editing software, which is built for programming expert advisors and indicators and scripts. So if you have a look at this, and it could be a little bit daunting, but what I will only show you today is how to create a new project from their what they call their wizard. So I'll open a new project, and it says welcome to the MQL5 wizard. You will then say you want to generate a MQL5 expert advisor. So you click on that selection. So just to hammer on this topic, this is again when you have to go and do the homework and understand what everything does and what every signal that you put in here that'll output into the expert advisor, what it does. So this takes a little bit of time, but listen, the functionality is there for you to use. Pretty much, I then just say we want to create the name. So that's all I have to give it. We call it the webinar EA. We say that we want to execute it on the symbol where I put it on and the time frame I put on. You can obviously change these things. I'm just quickly showing you guys. So yeah, you start putting in the properties of the expert advisor. Now, if you then click here, add. So these will be the triggers, what it does and when it does it.
Okay.
So the possibilities here are almost endless of the different combinations they have. So these are pre-programmed, predefined triggers that work off the most commonly used technical indicators. So we know, a lot of us know the MACD. There we go. We've got the moving average. We've got the stochastic. We've
RSI.
got RSI, exactly. So let's go. Odwa's favorite, the RSI. Let's go with that. But we don't know what this thing does and when it will trigger. So if you actually then hover here and you click on this question mark, it gives you, you should keep it updated, the documentation database. But if you then go and click it actually tells you exactly what the oscillator RSI index triggers on. So it says you for buying, it triggers on this reversal thing. I'm not exactly sure. I've never read through this documentation, but it's unbelievable the functionality you can build out of the predefined, pre-programmed indicators they have here. So look, if you see here, there are even failing swings and all of it. It's amazing what you can do with these predefined ones. And this documentation is readily available for you to spend your time. If you see here, all of these are here on the left-hand side. You can go through all of them and work one by one and figure out the different combinations. Now, these are all for if you want to create off a template. So you mustn't confuse this with programming one. So programming physically, sitting there and writing code will have a different. You will just do that off a template. So this one actually generates a expert advisor for you. So let me just quickly. So I'm wasting a lot of your time. I'm continuing.
Can you edit that code in the background?
So my colleague, Mr. Paul Jakaduka, just asked us, if you could edit the code in the background, you can. But you would need some programming knowledge. So if you then edit it and take some stuff out or add some in, it will change how it functions. So you have to be aware, and I'll show you when we get the code now, that you can go. That's the wonderful thing about it. You can customize it just the way you want it to. So you can take out some of the triggers. You can add back in some other triggers. So we got this one now. We say we want to trigger the signals on the RSI index oscillator. Our weight for that is 1. And obviously, you guys can have a look. There are many tutorials out there. I'm not the expert when it comes to this. Many tutorials out there that you can go and view and watch. If I go again, click next. You just follow the steps. So it says trailing properties of the expert advisor. Specify the trailing properties of the expert advisor. So pretty much, do you want to use a trailing stop? What do you want to use it off? There's a moving average, parabolics are. These are pre-programmed. So you don't necessarily have to use them, but they are there for you. So let's say we want to use a parabolic ZAR. We're happy with those steps. Perfect. Now we just decide what money management we want to involve. So we say, bugger that. We know exactly how much we want to trade. We want to trade fixed risk, but we want to trade 10% of the value. So if I then click finish, here you go. So it's put out this whole heap of code. And you look, if you share this with your mates, they think you're a programming genius. Like I've done with a couple of guys on the desk. I said, listen, have a look at this. I've programmed all of this, but I didn't. This is all generated by the expert advisor. You will then be able to find this one you just created under your experts tab. So you have a look at expert advisors, and there it is. There's your webinar expert. So if I then go to my strategy tester, just to show you that I'm not talking rubbish and that we actually did just create an expert advisor in the 2 minutes we spent there, I drag that in. I think it might be a little bit in the drop-down menu. Drag it in. There we go. We're going to execute on exactly the same one, run it over the same time frame. We have a look here. There is buying and selling. I'm not saying that it'll make you money necessarily, which it obviously doesn't. So you have to go ahead then and change all of these. And one thing I want to show to you in this strategy tester, which is the last thing I'll probably say and wrap it up on that, is the optimization of expert advisors. So you could run optimization of the expert advisor historically. So you have to understand one thing. You have to take, like I said earlier, you have to take that with a pinch of salt. It is historic value. So that is the best would happen, the best possible result you could have ever have gotten from historic values. So you're looking backwards. You're never looking forwards. So take it with a pinch of salt, but more than likely it could possibly work if the same type of market conditions continue forward. It could work in the same way. So I then go and say, listen, I want to change my stop loss and my take profit value, and I want to run the start value from 20 to 100, and I want to run the take profit from 20 to 100, and it'll show you the 289 different iterations of the backtest it will run, the optimization. So if I then just say start, you can have a look here. Here are the optimization results. So as it runs through all the different optimizations, it will then create you with the biggest balance. It'll show you what the best results on this specific expert advisor is that we've selected here over with these different predefined settings. I don't actually know why it's not. Okay, there must be something wrong on my computer. I see that it's given me an error. But if you follow those exact same steps and you change this optimization to fast generic, and you change the balance to whatever you want it, you change the inputs like you had it here, it'll tell you which different combinations would have given you the biggest profit. And obviously, if we look at that chart, you probably have to run a couple of optimizations on that to make that one work. But that was just what I showed you is how easy it is to create a custom EA from the predefined libraries that are out there. So go Google this. Go Google how to generate it from the wizards, how to use it. Those videos are readily available. You can even have how to assemble a trading robot right here in this wizard. It gives you a YouTube video. So go ahead, go play around, retest it. That's one thing I just want to. Last thing I want to reiterate: don't be naive about this. Be aware. Know exactly what this robot is going to do on your behalf, because there's no undoing it. If it's on a live account, there's no saying, listen, GT, sorry, I had this expert advisor running on my account. It just lost my whole account. Can you please reverse all those trades? Unfortunately, that's not how it works. So if you implement this on your live account, you take full responsibility and go and spend the time. If you're serious about this, test and retest and run it on your demo account for probably a month or two before you implement it on a live account. Listen, if you want to implement a straight off the bat on your live account, that's up to you. But you take full responsibility.
Okay. Let's see the questions as we are wrapping up. Okay, we haven't gotten any new questions at the moment. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Ben, you asked two questions. The one is, why not just install your instance on the server? So that, I think that's about my pay grade. I don't completely understand that. If you want to just pop me an email, I would investigate that further. The other one is, does GT allow hedging EAs? Unfortunately, we have a netting system installed, so hedging EAs won't work. We are investing that, getting that further, guys. So if you really caught up on the hedging side, send us an email. We are looking to investigate our options, but unfortunately, we did go for the netting. Not unfortunately, that was the best solution for all our clients, was the netting. So unfortunately, hedging EAs won't work on our server. But listen, if you're really keen on hedging EAs and you want one, if you have one, drop us a mail. We obviously open to suggestions and comments.
Okay. I think Ben is asking again, why not install the instance on the VPS, the server? As I said, that's above my pay grade.
So Ben, just sorry that we couldn't answer that one, and maybe we could give you a shout tomorrow and just talk about that if you really want us to elaborate.
Okay. Okay, and I see we don't have any more questions. Giving you 1 minute to write those questions. Typing might take a while. 1 minute to do that. However, this is the end of the webinar today. I hope it was informative. We are also looking for other webinars we're going to be doing forward. If you do have any suggestions, also write that in this 1 minute left. Then we're going to look into that and investigate. For example, this was thanks to the last webinar. People were saying that they want to know more about EAs, and that's how we got this up and running. So we'd like to hear from you guys. I will be sending this video, or the recording rather, to everyone that joined and registered for the webinar. But I mean, you get a lot of wealth of knowledge when you actually join and interact with us on how this all works.
Okay.
Okay, Neil wants to know about the history tab. I'm not sure in terms of how it looks, where to find it. You need to elaborate a bit more. And actually, what I'll do is I'll answer that to you personally tomorrow. I'll give you a call. Don't worry about that. I'm not sure what Wes is asking about the email before we start. The webinar does send an email an hour before the webinar starts, just to remind you that we have one, and also a day before, just to give you a heads up that we have these up and running.
Sorry, just see old Ben asked another question there. He's asked how to select an EA portfolio. So EAs do trigger on specific instruments. So you then select the different instruments you want to trade. So if you want to trade the S&P, the Dow, the ALSI, every single index out there, you can do that if your funds allow it. But you select that portfolio of the stocks it trades on.
Okay, yes. And he just elaborated, say, for future webinars, how to build the EA portfolio. We are going to look into that, Ben. That's a great topic, actually. I will look into that personally, and then we'll see what we can do. Okay. I think that's everyone's question. Thank you very much for taking your evening off to join myself and Piru for this webinar. And thank you, Piru, for sharing your knowledge on EAs and enlightening us. Well, I learned quite a number of things personally today, and hope you guys also learned something. Please join us for the next one. We will inform you via email. And as you register for this webinar rather, we got your details, so we will be sending you out all these stuff. And as I said, I hope it was informative. And again, thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot, guys. And like I said, we are available on the desk. So if you need any questions answered, just either pop us a call or a mail, and we're more than willing to help you guys.
Okay. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.